Did you enjoy your vacations?
Yeah, I enjoyed a lot. I travel, I rested a lot. So, but more importantly, when I came back, I realized that you have continued very constantly with the weeks that we were supposed to continue. Week one, week two, week three. Well, most of you completed activities very like accurately. Well, congratulations on that. I'm really happy because the topics of the first weeks they could be a little bit confusing, but I have checked the activities that you did, and I have seen that you got the topics pretty clear. I am really proud. I'm really happy to see those activities because they were very, very accurate. So I can see that I studied and you got and you understood the topics very clearly. No, of course, nevertheless, if you have questions about the topics, about the gerunds, or about what were the other topics, about the future or about the past perfect, maybe we can check some tutorials, tutoring sessions, if you have questions about it. But generally, what I have saw is that you understood the topics pretty well. No, I don't know. Do you have questions about the first topics, or do you understand them well? How did you feel with those topics of the first 3 weeks?
Yes, I'm going to accept that it wasn't easy, but in my case, I take a lot of reviews in internet.
Mhm.
I complement with the activities. It's very useful to learn. Um, Thank you for your videos, your recordings. Uh, help us a lot.
Okay, thanks. Well, thanks God. That was the idea to help you with those because I know I can understand that those topics might be a little bit confusing sometimes. So that's why I was expecting you to watch the videos and have a clearer idea with those videos. Good, excellent, Nico. And Jennifer, how did you feel about it? Those topics, clear, not clear?
Teacher, I understand some topics, but I have um, some questions about the past tense. Is past perfect? Yeah.
Yeah, well, past
Yeah.
continuous, past simple, and past perfect. But the past
And
continuous and the past simple, you saw it before. So
yeah.
the new one was past perfect.
See, I had some questions about past perfect
What happened here?
because
Simple questions
uh,
or longer, or do you want a tutoring session before later?
uh, I understand that past perfect is used to speak about um something in the past, but happen in this moment, or this is present perfect
That is present perfect, my dear. The past perfect is an action that happened before another action in the past.
in
For
the past.
example, this is the present. No?
When we have to explain something at the beginning of a history or situation.
Exactly. Well, so this is
Yeah.
the present. It means it's 2025, no? And I am telling a story about 2024, for example. Yes.
Mhm.
But for any reason, I am going to mention another activity that happened before that action, and it was in 2023. So when I say I am talking about 2024 and I say that in 2024 I studied ta 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 ta, and when I use the past perfect, it's because I am going to describe something previous to that past. Normalmente se le conoce al past perfect como el pasado del pasado, porque es como algo en pasado que fue anterior a otra acción en pasado y se traduce literalmente como había y la acción en hado o ido, que siempre es had y verb past participle es como había o habíamos o habías y past participle. Entonces, for example, I traveled to Italy because I had learned Italian. En esa acción, ¿qué creen que pasó primero? ¿Viajé o aprendí? What do you think?
Learn English because he prepared for her travel.
Exacto. Entonces, that's why lo pongo en past perfect. Por eso lo pongo en past perfect, porque fue la acción que pasó antes, la que pasó, la que había pasado primero cuando la otra sucedió. Entonces, si lo traducimos en nuestras cabecitas de español como había o habíamos hecho tal cosa, es mucho más fácil entenderlo, ¿bien? ¿Listo? Te lo dejo ahí cortico porque hay que ver la clase de hoy, pero si tienes dudas más como profundas con este tema, avísame y digamos que cuadramos una tutoría, ¿vale? Para que
Ok,
podamos entender este
teacher.
temita mejor, ¿vale?
Ok, ok, teacher, thank you. Aunque ya entendí un poco mejor, es que me está
Eh,
haciendo como bolas con eso.
es que es un poquito
Pero sí
enredado.
me gustaría una tutoría. Yo le
Listo,
escribo.
eso me escribes y cuadramos. Si quieres, Nico, también, pues si necesitas una tutoría con algún tema, también lo podemos
Okay,
cuadrar.
teacher.
¿Listo? ¿Ready?
The
Ok,
most
teacher.
difficult part, I think, is remember the time of the verb. In this case, is a past participle.
Past
Is
participle, sí.
in some verbs change the form. Is not finishing eating.
Sí, exactly. That's the most difficult part. Is remembering the past participle of the irregular verbs, ¿no? Con el tiempo igual lo vamos a ir memorizando, pero sí, eso aparte, es una parte difícil también recordar los pasados participios. ¿Listo? Yes. Bueno, my dear, today we're going to work in the week number 4. The week number 4, it's just one class and it's focused to the environment. Yes. Do you know what is the meaning of environment?
Medio ambiente.
Exactly. Environment, it means medio ambiente, right? And based on the environment, we're going to talk about environmental problems, no? Like, for example, we can see here air pollution, it's like contamination, pollution, and also hazardous waste. What is the meaning of hazardous waste? What is the meaning of waste?
I don't know.
Waste, it means
Looks like a chemical problems or yeah, something similar.
yes, it is a part, the chemical problems or the chemical waste, it's a part of the hazardous waste. Waste, it means como residuos o el desperdicio, right? The waste, right? And hazardous, it's a synonym of dangerous, but from the biological part. For example, the COVID-19 was a hazardous virus. Hazardous because it's not a dangerous like of violence or something like that, but it's a biological danger, no? So that's why usually we watch biohazard. Do you remember that some years ago it was very common the expression biohazard? It's because it's a danger based on biological reasons, a
Yes.
virus or chemical reasons or for something like that, right? So that's another of the problems that we have in the world, yes, in our planet. And we have also the problem of the water pollution, yeah. And of course, that we have some suggestions, no? Like recycling, new alternative energies, electric energy, solar energy, aeolic energy, no? Not contaminating, planting trees. There are many different suggestions in order to fight back or in order to solve or to reduce those problems, right? Now, guys, this week we're going to focus on those problems, but those problems don't have a specific subject. Yeah, because it's not like only Nicholas is responsible for the no, only Jennifer, no, only no. We all have responsibility on this problem, so that's why in this case we are not going to focus on the person, but we are going to focus more on the problem itself and the consequences that that problem can have, right? So based on that, we have in the infographic of the week, we have three columns, no? And in the column number in the column A, it says that we have several problems: traffic, plastic waste, visual contamination, intolerance is not environmental, but it's a social problem too. Poverty, same, corruption, anxiety, and depression. Yes. And in the column B, we have other different problems that can be consequence of those problems, of that problem in the column A. So the situation or the exercise one says match the problems A in the column A with their consequences in the column B, right? So guys, what is the from the options that we have here, which is water pollution, public violence, lack of resources, pollution, a like air pollution. This is more related to air pollution, suicide rates. What is the meaning of rates?
Tasas?
Tasas, exactly. So like the percentage of the suicide, a visual stress and insecurity. Yeah. From those options that we have here, what could be the most possible or the most logical consequences of the high traffic?
In the column B, maybe visual stress.
Could be visual stress.
Teacher,
Jennifer,
maybe lack of resources.
is it? Yes. Lack of, what is the meaning of lack of?
Mm. Yo lo adiviné por inercia, pero ya miro.
Lack of, it means falta de. Ready?
Ah,
Falta de
ok.
recursos. Yes, exactly. This, well, from my perspective, from my point of view, I think that the traffic, as it is with normal, regular gasoline, produces a lot
This
of
air
air
pollution.
pollution. Exactly. A lot of air pollution. Yes. What about the plastic waste, especially in the water, in the ocean? What does it produce?
Water pollution.
Of course, water pollution. Yes. And what about the visual contamination?
Visual stress.
Visual stress. Very good, right? And what about the intolerance? What does it produce?
Public violence.
Public violence. Yes, Mrs. Very good. And poverty. What about the poverty? What does it produce?
Suicide rates.
Well, yes, of course. Suicide rates is more related to anxiety and depression, but of course that the poverty also produces the suicide rates, no? But
Teacher, what is the meaning poverty?
poverty, pobreza, my dear Jenny. Pobreza.
Okay.
Yes. So
Thank you.
other possibility, suicide rates, insecurity.
Insecurity, yes.
Good,
In
very
Colombia, yes, insecurity.
exactly, Nico. Very good. Insecurity. And the corruption, what does it produce?
Lack of resources.
Claro que sí, of course. The corruption of the politicians produces lack of resources because they steal those resources, right? And the last one, anxiety and depression, produces suicide rates.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, guys, in this case, we have two problems. One, it's the cause, and the other one is the consequence, right? So, as we don't have an special subject, like a person that is producing those problems, but it's another different situation, we are going to have two possibilities. And it's more common to use the passive voice in this case to describe what is going on. But these problems are, some of them have happened for a lot of time, and some of them are happening these days. So I can say, for example, that traffic traffic in Bogota is causing air pollution because of course in Bogota we have a lot of traffic, so that's why that traffic in Bogota is causing the air pollution. Yes, but that's a one possibility. But if I want to emphasize more on the consequence and not the cause, what we can do is to transform this sentence into the passive voice, but it's the passive voice of the present continuous. So we're going to check that. Other possibility, for example, is to say that the plastic waste for a lot of years, it has increased the water pollution, right? So the plastic waste has increased the water pollution. Yeah. And I can put it like that, and it's fine if I want to emphasize on the problem. But if I want to emphasize on the consequence, it's better to use the passive voice. But this is the passive voice of present perfect. So today, guys, we're going to focus on two different passive voices. the passive voice of the present continuous and the passive voice of the present perfect. Yes? Remember that the passive voice is created mixing the verb to be plus a verb in past participle. Yeah, that's the combination that we have to use to create the passive voice. Normally, the present perfect is have plus a verb in past participle. ¿Cierto? That is the active voice, normally. In the passive voice, what we have to do is to add be to this one and then the verb in past participle. So this is the active voice. The passive voice in present perfect, it's going to be, bueno, this is have or has, of course. In the passive voice is going to be have or has, again, then the verb to be, but the verb to be in past participle. What is the past participle of the verb to be?
Been.
Been,
Been.
teacher.
Very good, Cami, very good, Nico. Have or has been, and then the verb in past participle. This is the passive voice of the present perfect. Have, has been, and verb in past participle. On the other hand, we have the present continuous. Normally in the active voice, we have is or are and the verb in ing. That's the most simple structure, and it's in active voice, right? In passive voice, it's a little bit confusing because we have to use verb to be 2 times consecutive, and then we have to use the verb in ing. So the passive voice, it's going to be again is or are, and then the verb in ing. But what verb? The verb to be. So it's going to be ing. It means being, siendo, right? And then, of course, the verb in past participle. This is the passive voice of present continuous. Is, are, being, and then the verb in past participle. So, if the first sentence, for example, was what was it? Plastic waste. Plastic waste has caused water pollution. Water pollution. Yes. The first thing that I have to do is to put the object at the beginning, right? And this at the end. I have to switch positions, right? Then I would say that water pollution, the water pollution what?
Has
Yes,
been
yes.
caused
Caused.
caused by plastic waste.
Exactly like that, Nico. Very good. Ready? So this is the way in which we can work on the present perfect with a passive voice. Ready? So it's simply putting the object at the beginning, the subject at the end, and mixing or changing the structures as we exemplify here, right? The other sentence was that traffic, or bueno, high traffic in Bogota is increasing. What is the meaning of increase?
Incrementar.
Incrementar. Very good. So the traffic in Bogota is increasing pollution, the air pollution. That one is in active voice. I am focused on the problem. But what about if I want to focus on the consequence? Take the consequence to the first place. So I would say air pollution, air pollution what?
Has been is being
Is being caused, oh, pardon, caused, no,
increased
increased. Exactly, right? So
by air pollution, by
by
traffic.
traffic in Bogota. Good. So the air pollution is being increased by traffic in Bogota. Ready? So guys, of course, I can say that the air pollution has been increased by traffic in Bogota, but in this case, we guide from the original sentence. If the original sentence is in present continuous, we change it to the present continuous. Or if the original sentence is created in present perfect, we change it to the present perfect. right? But of course, if the original sentence is the traffic in Bogota has increased air pollution, then I can say it as Nico said, air pollution has been increased by traffic in Bogota. But as the original sentence is in present continuous, I do the same and and I change it to passive voice, but in the present continuous. ¿Listo? Passive is con doble S. I'm so sorry. Passive in both cases. That's it, right? ¿Qué tal, guys? How do you feel? Questions about the change or not? Más o menos, more or less.
Teacher is more practice.
It's more practice. Yes, very good. Cami, how do you feel, mine? Good?
Good, teacher. Perfect.
Perfect. Very good. So, in this case, guys, we have more examples, no? Because we did it. We changed or we match here a lot of different examples. We already did it with traffic and plastic waste. Yes. So we use air pollution and we use water pollution. You have other 5 examples. Choose one couple of problems and create an example. Present perfect or present continuous, but in passive voice. Remember, this is the cause. Ah, my God, sorry, let's change the color. This is the cause, and this is the consequence. In the active voice, the cause goes first and the consequence is later. For example, the visual contamination is causing a lot of visual stress. That is in the active voice. But if we do it in the passive voice, we have to put first the consequence and then the cause. Ready? So create one example with any of the other problems, but do it in passive voice. Doesn't matter if it's present continuous or present simple, or present continuous or present perfect, but in passive voice. Okay, go ahead. Ready? You tell me when you're ready, okay? Let me know when you're ready. Ready, Nico? Yes?
Yes, I have one example.
Go ahead, my friend, tell me.
Suicide rates is being increased by anxiety and depression.
Anxiety and depression.
Anxiety and depression.
Exactly. Well, once again, so the suicide rates, it's plural, right? So
Are
exactly, my God, very good, excellent. So suicide rates are being increased by anxiety and depression. Muy bien, Nico. That's great. Excellent. Then, Camilo, do you have another, guys?
Teacher, public violence has been caused.
Cost,
Sorry.
pronunciation cost.
Oh, sorry. Caused by intolerance.
By the intolerance. Very good. Great. And Cami, what do you think?
Okay, teacher. For of my example of the hair.
No, no, you're in trouble, my friend.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yes.
For example, domestic violence is increasing in the last years in the society.
Yes, right. Good. Cami, but what is the the cause of that domestic violence? What do you think?
Mm, fightings.
The domestic violence is fightings, but why do you think that those
Okay.
fightings are being presented? Probably for
Mm,
economical problems, probably for infidelities, probably for what do you think?
yes. Everything that happens in our lives with the stress, with the
Stress. Let's choose the stress. Ready? Stress is the
yeah.
cause, and domestic violence is the
Okay.
consequence. ¿Cierto? That's it. So we want to express it in the passive voice. What we have to do first is to use the consequence first. So we have domestic violence,
Okay.
domestic violence. Listo. Cami, what do you think? It's
Uh,
something that is happening right now, or it has been happening for a long time?
mm, 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 mm. I think is mm, 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 mm. Actually,
It's
yeah.
currently.
Yeah, currently.
Listo, good. Entonces, we said that the domestic violence is
Yeah.
being, está haciendo, and then we are going to use a verb in past participle. ¿Qué verbo podemos usar acá, guys? Al que a ustedes se les ocurra. Por ejemplo, hemos usado mucho caused y increased, como causado o incrementado. Puedo usar ha sido, está siendo producida, está siendo causada, está siendo aumentada, está siendo perpetuada, está siendo many different verbs, right? For example, here we said domestic violence is being produced, and then
Teacher,
we use, tell me,
ay,
my
sorry,
dear,
¿cómo diría? Generada.
generated, also another possibility.
Okay.
Muy bien, exactly. So it's being generated, it's being produced, it's being caused, it's being many different possibilities by, and the reason or the cause that Camilo chose was the stress. So domestic violence is being produced by stress. Así de sencillo. ¿Listo, Cami? Entonces, bueno, ese ejemplo no estaba dentro de los que yo tenía acá, pero muy bien, es un buen ejemplo, ¿cierto? Entonces tenemos la consecuencia que está siendo producida, causada, incrementada o disminuida o afectada o por y la causa. Ready? Entonces, it's being produced, it's being affected, it's being damaged, it's being created by and then the cause. Right? ¿Listo? O si lo quieres usar
Teacher,
en... Yes, dime.
sorry, teacher, pero en una conversación normal, ¿siempre es necesario utilizar todas las estructuras?
No,
O, ok, ok. Vale, eso era.
no, no problem. Digamos que es como estas estructuras, sobre todo cuando es voz pasiva, hace mucho referencia, Cami, a situaciones un poquito más formales. No, no necesariamente de trabajo, pero digamos si tú estás hablando, no sé, eh, con tus colegas del trabajo, que no es un tema de trabajo, pero estamos hablando como temas como que no son como de chistear ni nada, sino que es un tema como un poco serio, posiblemente sí vamos a usar estructuras así completicas, ¿sí? Entonces, la otra que tú tenías, como domestic violence is happening due to, es simplemente la voz activa. Entonces, cualquiera de las dos está bien, solo que pues la voz activa ya la tenemos casi lista, ya la sabemos manejar, pues la idea es como tratar de incluir la voz pasiva también, que también es una forma muy, muy usada, ¿vale? Especialmente en estos casos, Cami, cuando no tenemos un sujeto. Como yo les decía a ellos al principio, no es que una persona sea responsable del problema, sino que es un problema que es muy general, por lo tanto, como no tiene sujeto, es mejor usar la voz pasiva, ¿vale? Y eso es solo por eso, pero pues tú puedes usar también la voz activa sin ningún problema, o claro, reducir las estructuras también es posible, ¿vale? Pero pues depende mucho del contexto.
Ok, teacher, gracias.
Ready? No problem. Bueno, my dear guys, entonces, basically, that's the idea with the with the passive voice in present perfect and in present continuous. Okay. Now, we have here some examples. Bueno, at the end of the sentence, we can have by, which is one of the possibilities, ¿cierto? Está siendo causada por tal cosa, but it's not the only possibility. Sorry, we can have many different adverbs in order to introduce a cause because of, for, by, which is the most common, due to, throughout, and as a result of. As a result of es como resultado de, because of es como por, yes. For es lo mismo por, due to, debido a, y through, o a throughout, a través de. So, exactly, for example, we could say that the domestic violence is being generated because of stress. The traffic, no, sorry, the air pollution in Bogota is being incremented or is being increased due to the traffic or due to the high traffic. So yeah, the most common one is by, but it's not the only possibility. We can also use any of the other expressions to that, right? Guys, we have here other different problems, right? But I am not going to give you any kind of consequence. You have to come up with a consequence yourself, right? We have 9 problems. Bueno, 8 because the first one is already done. Famine, which is hambruna. Yes, I said famine has been caused by the resource waste or as a result of the resource waste. What is the meaning of resource waste?
Desperdicio de recursos.
Exactamente. Muy bien, Nico. Very good. Ready? And the famine can be a consequence. Yes, in this case, it's the consequence, but it's also possible that it's a problem. So I can say that an increase on the death rate, which is, of course, tasa de mortalidad, yes, an increase on the death rate has been caused as a result of the famine, right? So you can use a problem, whether as a problem, as a cause, or as a consequence, yes, using the passive voice. Guys, we have other 8 examples, which is poverty. What is poverty, Jen? ¿Qué era poverty? What was that?
Pobreza,
Muy bien. Global warming, what is that? Global warming, what is that?
Calentamiento global.
Muy bien. Corruption, cancer. Cancer is the sickness, cancer. Political unrest, which is like desconfianza en la política, ¿no? Como el descontento de la gente al respecto de la política. Traffic accidents and overpopulation. Yes? You can work with that as a cause or as a consequence. Right? Sorry, as a consequence or as a cause. So you just have to choose one and create an example. Passive voice, present continuous, present perfect, you decide. But decide also if it's cause or if it's consequence. Ready? As I did it here with famine, can be the cause of a problem or can be the consequence of a problem. Express it just one, no problem. Ready? But come up with a consequence or with a cause of that problem. Go ahead. You have 1 minute. Think about it. Choose any problem that you prefer, any of the 8 options. Just come up with an example, Mike. Okay, my dear people. Ready? So you got one example, on any of the options that you have there?
Teacher,
Mhm.
I don't know, but for example, in the in the line of cancer, um, an increase on the bad eating habits has been caused as a result of cancer,
It's not
maybe.
the opposite, Cami. It's not the opposite that the cancer is being caused as a result of the bad habits.
But are the bad habits bad eating habits,
Yes,
right?
that the bad habits are causing the cancer. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So when we do it in passive voice, it's the opposite way. Cancer is being caused or produced as a result of sorry, bad eating habits. You have both options. Tienes las dos opciones. Si lo haces en voz activa, es como tú dijiste. Muchos o bad eating habits are causing the cancer, ¿cierto? Voz activa. Los malos hábitos de comer están causando el cáncer. Pero si lo hago en voz pasiva, es al revés. El cáncer está siendo causado, is being caused, como resultado de, as a result of bad eating habits. Right? So, es al revés. Es la misma idea, solo que o sea, digamos, depende de qué quieras enfocar tú. ¿Te quieres enfocar en la causa, que son los malos hábitos alimenticios? Bien, lo puedes hacer en voz activa. ¿Te quieres enfocar en la consecuencia, que es el cáncer? Te puedes enfocar en voz activa, en voz pasiva, perdón, ¿sí? Entonces, depende de lo que tú quieras enfocar, lo vas a hacer de una forma o de la otra. ¿Listo, Cami? ¿Ready? Pero es la misma idea.
Ok, teacher, aunque ahora que me doy cuenta, o sea, estamos haciendo era el primero, yo pensé que estamos haciendo el
No,
segundo.
cualquiera de los dos podría ser, por eso los dejé ahí los dos.
Ah, ok, ok, por eso tomé el ejemplo que mostraba ahí.
Exacto. Entonces, digamos, aquí en este caso, digamos que cuando uso voz pasiva, lo que coloco en segundo lugar es la causa del problema. Entonces, por ejemplo, aquí un incremento en las tasas de mortalidad ha sido causado por la hambruna, ¿cierto? Entonces, aquí la hambruna causa un incremento en las tasas de mortalidad. Aquí los malos hábitos causan pues el cáncer como enfermedad, ¿sí? Entonces, siempre en voz pasiva lo que yo coloco en segundo lugar, en este caso, es, digamos que
El,
la causa
ajá,
del problema. Y lo que coloco inicialmente es la consecuencia.
por eso, o sea que lo que yo estaba diciendo en voz era pasiva, ¿cierto?
Era activada, porque estabas diciendo que los hábitos alimenticios causan el cáncer,
Es
¿cierto?
por eso. Pasiva no es cuando hablamos de la consecuencia primero,
Por eso
o es
que
algo.
es la consecuencia primero, que es cáncer. Pero tú estabas mencionando los hábitos alimenticios primero, pero los hábitos alimenticios es la causa.
Ok,
Yes. When you said, for
ok.
example, eating habits. Si lo colocara en voz pasiva, sería como eating habits are being caused. ¿Qué fue? Como lo tenías, are being caused as a result of cancer. Entonces dirías que los malos hábitos alimenticios están siendo causados como resultado del cáncer. Pero es al revés. El cáncer está siendo causado a raíz de o como resultado de los malos hábitos alimenticios. Right?
Okay, teacher, I need more practice.
Yes, I know, I know. That part of changing active to passive is a little bit strange, but fine. Muy bien. Jennifer, my dear, what about you? What do you have?
Well, teacher, I have two. Eh, an increase of the poverty has been generated due
Ted?
to corruption.
Muy bien. Entonces,
Yeah.
tengo poverty, pero she said an increase in the poverty has been generated as a result, you said?
Yeah, an increase of the poverty has been generated due to corruption.
Due to.
Corruption.
Muy bien. Due to corruption. Excelente.
Corruption. And
Ujú.
eso lo puedo probar. Poverty is being generated due to corruption.
Sí, también. Very good.
Ah, ok, es que quería hacer las dos, a ver.
Sí, exacto, porque la primera es como la pobreza está siendo generada o un incremento en la pobreza también. It's fine. It's so
Okay.
perfect, Jennifer. Ah, Nico?
I choose political unrest.
Mhm.
Political unrest has been created by persistent socioeconomic problems.
Great, excellent. So the political unrest has been created due to consistent socio-economical problems, right? That's right. So the problems are the cause and the consequence is the political unrest, right? Claro, of course, think about that this can be a problem, but this also can be a consequence. Sorry, that this is the consequence of another problem, but as another problem, it also has other consequences. For example, the poverty. What consequence has the poverty? A lot of insecurity, no? We said. Entonces we can say an increase in the insecurity has been produced as a result of the poverty. Yes. So these problems have, of course, causes, but they also have consequences. So I have to be very careful. How do I want to express these problems, right? Okay, guys, and you already learned how to describe the problems using passive voice, especially passive voice in present perfect and passive voice in present continuous. But the other problem or the other part is that we want to describe suggestions for these parts, right? When we have suggestions, we have two basic or two main possibilities. The first one is using infinitive, which you know it's to and the verb infinitive, the verb in the basic form. And the other one is using by and the gerund. Yeah. When I say by and the gerund, it's like saying like, no sé, yo ahorro agua lavando menos, por ejemplo. So that action, and then you know that's going to be by and the verb in gerund. Yes. And with infinitive, we have other different kind of expressions. For example, we said, la mejor forma de ahorrar agua es lavar menos. No lavando menos, sino lavar menos. Entonces, en este caso, we use infinitive, which is to and the verb in infinitive. Ready? Let's check what kind of expressions do we have here. Mainly, when we use infinitive, mainly they are going to be expressions with verb to be. For example, one way to do ta 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 is, and then the verb in infinitive. Yes. One way to be more organized is to start following a schedule. It might be a good idea to start following a schedule. One thing you could do is to, and then the verb in infinitive. Ready? So it's pretty common that we use the infinitive form to give suggestions, right? And with expressions like also, for example, it's important, it's important to, it's a good idea to, it's another way to, it's a good suggestion to, it might be a good idea to, and then the verb infinitive, but usually when we have verb to be in those expressions. When we have other different verbs, and very commonly with the verb can, yes, we do it or we use it, we increase the suggestion by and the gerund, right? So for example, you can reduce the water consumption by washing less. Or you can, no sé, you can reduce the water consumption by recycling the water of the shower. It's an example, right? So in that case, we have different kind of expressions, and depending the expression, yeah, I am going to use infinitive or I am going to use gerunds, right? So, for example, I learn a lot of idioms by watching TV. How do you do that? What is the recommendation? Watching TV. Yes. One way of becoming fluent is by talking a lot in class. So it's also possible to use it with verb to be, but the verb to be is more commonly used with infinitive, but it's also a possibility. Ready? So both ways are very common and very important to be used, right? So in that case, guys, wait a second. Oh, no, that's it. We have these problems over here, the same problems, right? What recommendations would you have for one of the problems? For example, for the famine, I think that we can reduce famine by uh, by by harvesting better. Do you know what is the meaning of harvesting or harvest?
Cultivar or cultivar.
Cosechar. Cosechar, exactly. Muy bien. So we can reduce the famine by harvesting better. Is one recommendation. Or I can express the same idea with an infinitive. I said one way to reduce famine, one way to reduce the famine is to harvest better. So it's one possibility, right? But in that case, I use to and the verb infinitive, but it's the same idea. Ready? Guys, think on the problem that you mentioned. For example, Jennifer mentioned poverty, Nico mentioned political unrest, and Cami used cancer. Yeah. So think on the problem that you have, or if you want to change it, you can change it, and think on a possible solution, in a possible suggestion for that problem. Okay? So think about it. You can do it with infinitive or with the other as you prefer.
Teacher.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm, works like that. For example, we can reduce. Ok, I have a question. Cuando nosotros decimos en español, por ejemplo, nosotros reducimos el cáncer, esa preposición se debe agregar en el inglés cuando hablamos de algo como tan general.
No, en ese caso por eso no coloco el cáncer, sino solo cáncer. Pero si tú lo especificas un poco más, por ejemplo, el cáncer de páncreas, el cáncer de estómago,
Ok,
ahí sí. So you could say, for example, we can reduce the stomach cancer y ya digamos, la recomendación. Pero sí, cuando usamos algo general, como por ejemplo fútbol, no usamos el artículo de. Cuando lo especifico un poco más, el fútbol colombiano, ahí sí lo especifico con da, right?
ok, teacher. Entonces sería, we can reduce cancer by assisting to, ay, ¿cómo se dice? How do you say? Chemotherapy sessions.
Ok, chemotherapy sessions. Ok, pero assist es asistir como de ayudar. Asistir de atender
Entonces,
sería
ser-
attend.
sería 10th. Ok, ok. Y ahí yo puedo decir attending to
Yes, attending to.
chemotherapy
Mhm.
sessions. Ok. Y in
Exacto.
the other way, sería one way to reduce cancer is to attend chemistry sessions.
Chemistry, what? What is the name of that? Chemotherapy sessions.
Chemotherapy, yeah,
Exactly,
es
sí.
química. Ok, chemistry es química. Ok, ¿qué? Ay, ya me confundí. Chemistry,
No, I
eh,
forgot the name. Chemotherapy session.
quimioterapia, no sé por qué tengo y química, teacher. Ok,
Pero sí, muy bien, exactly. Creo que one way es solamente una posibilidad. For example, you could say to reduce cancer. Bueno, to prevent. Vamos a hablar de para prevenir.
ok,
To prevent cancer, comma, it's important. It's important to, no sé, to eat better, ¿cierto? Entonces, es otra recomendación, pero one way to es solamente una posibilidad. Te puedo arrancar directamente desde to do that, ¿cierto? O it's important to, o it's a good idea to. Entonces hay muchas opciones que puedes usar, ¿vale? Son diferentes opciones, puedes escoger cualquiera que quieras, que te suene mejor para poder introducir la recomendación, ¿vale? Muy bien, excelente, Camilo. Mr. Nico, what do you think, Mike?
For example, hmm, One option to reduce political unrest is to combat corruption
Hmm.
and restore trust with the people.
Wonderful, very good. So one option to reduce the political unrest is to combat the corruption and to restore what?
Restore the reliable or trust. I don't know.
Ah, yeah, very good. And restore the people's trust. People's trust.
People trust. Okay.
Exactly. Muy bien. Excellent, Nico. That's great. My dear Jennifer, what do you think?
Teacher, I can speak so poverty.
Yeah, well, 40 or other if you want. Any problem.
Uh, uh, One way to reduce poverty is maybe removing some taxes
Okay,
in the
taxes.
city. Taxes,
Uh-huh.
taxes in the city.
Okay, very good.
But yeah,
But no,
oh,
continue, dale, go.
no, is that, but, o sea, no sabía si tenía que agregarle el, is by removing o is removing.
Si usas
Some,
el removing, tienes que usar el by. Si usas remove,
okay,
usas el to, right?
okay, teacher, thank you.
Entonces, muy bien. One way to reduce the poverty is by reducing taxes o is to reduce taxes. Cualquiera de las dos está bien, pero con la preposición correcta. To reduce, infinitivo, o by reducing, gerundio. Cualquiera de las dos.
Okay, teacher, se me olvida.
Tranquilo.
Thank you.
Listo, muy bien, excellent, guys. Entonces, in this week, that was the idea, talking about environmental issues, yes, but presenting the problem without any subject is not that the people is causing, no, the cause is other different problems, right? Claro, sabemos que la gente está incluida ahí, pero pues no se menciona porque pues no es necesario mencionar a la gente. Partimos de una causa que es otro problema, por lo tanto usamos voz pasiva. Y de igual forma tenemos formas de recomendar sugerencias, yes, recommendations, using by o using to. ¿Listo? Guys, questions, difficulties, problems, dudas, questions.
No, teacher is clear. Only
Fine.
practice.
No, teacher, it's
Teacher,
only
a question.
Yes.
Em, es que, por ejemplo, en el global warming se utiliza el ing, ¿verdad? Se utilizan
Ujú.
diferentes, pues, pero no es porque simplemente o sea, sea como un verbo continuo, sino simplemente, pues, como un sustantivo, ¿no?
Exactamente, Camilo, un sustantivo.
Pero y cuando es, digamos, una acción, pero no necesariamente tiene que terminar todas las acciones en ing cuando es la última palabra, ¿cierto?
No te
Digamos,
entendí
en
mal.
una oración.
No
Sí,
entendí ese
digamos, yo
punto.
quisiera,
Dame.
exacto, sí, como, es que yo he visto muchas veces, sí, yo no me acuerdo en qué instituto ya me habían dicho que em, las acciones no pueden terminar, pues digamos, sin el ing, cuando estamos hablando, eh, digamos que cuando terminamos más bien una oración con un verbo. Porque el ing, digamos que no es que esté representando el continuo, sino simplemente es como una forma de decirlo. O
Te entiendo, te
sea,
entiendo. Sí,
entonces eso, cuando veo también los sustantivos, a veces como que se me dificulta y más como ahora, porque entonces no sé cuándo digo la oración, si termina en verbo en infinitivo o con el ing.
claro, of course. Listo. No sé si usted, bueno, en las primeras semanas de este nivel vimos gerundios, que es algo que
Ujú,
casi no hemos visto. Y el gerundio es el verbo en ing, ¿cierto? Es
sí,
básicamente el verbo en ing. Pero como dice Camilo, ese verbo en ing se usa para muchas cosas. Entonces puede ser que el verbo sea continuo, sea una oración continua, pero si es una oración continua tendría que estar siempre después del verbo to be. Entonces yo, por ejemplo, no sé, I am working, ¿sí? Ahí es fácil de identificar que aquí el verbo pues sí estaba siendo ando, endo porque está después del verbo to be, ¿sí?
así
Pero
es.
el verbo en ing o el gerundio como tal es un verbo en ing, pero a veces tiene complemento, ¿sí? Entonces, por ejemplo, yo quiero decir que trabajar es necesario. Entonces digo, working is necessary. El sustantivo aquí es solo working, porque es solo trabajar. Pero si yo dijera trabajar como profe, o trabajar en Colombia, o trabajar de noche, o trabajar whatever, va a ser el verbo más un complemento. Pero toda esa mezcla, Cami, es el sustantivo. Now, todo eso, no solo el verbo casi, sino todo completico es el sustantivo. Entonces digo, por ejemplo, working at night is better. No sé, it's better. ¿Cuál es el sujeto de esta oración, guys? De toda esta oración. Working at night is better.
El sujeto es trabajar, ¿no?
No solo trabajar, sino trabajar de noche. Entonces fíjate que
Ok.
el sujeto completo es el verbo más el complemento. Entonces aquí el sujeto es working at night is better. Aquí sí es solamente working. Working es necesario, aquí es working at night is better. Y lo mismo pasa cuando el sustantivo o cuando el gerundio está al final de la oración. Entonces, por ejemplo, yo quiero decir que a mí me gusta trabajar de noche. Entonces, es I love working at night. ¿Por qué?
Ah, ok.
Porque,
O sea, en resumidas palabras, teacher.
mm,
O sea, que es cuando es el sujeto.
o sea, el gerundio como tal puede ocupar la posición del sujeto o del complemento, ¿sí? Porque mira esta, aquí yo digo I love working at night y aquí termino con night, ¿sí? Porque tiene
Así
complemento
es.
ese gerundio. Pero si yo digo, ¿por qué me gusta trabajar de noche? Porque me gusta dormir. Entonces yo digo, me gusta dormir. I love, ¿qué?
Sleeping.
Sleeping. Mira que ahí la oración sí termina con gerundio, porque es que ahí yo no digo dormir algo, sino solo dormir. El gerundio solamente se compone, en ese caso, del verbo en ing. Entonces ahí termina en ing la oración. Aquí no, ¿sí? Entonces va a depender mucho cómo quieres usar el gerundio, con complemento o sin complemento, ¿sí? Entonces la oración puede iniciar con un gerundio, puede terminar con un gerundio, depende de qué
Ujú.
uso le estoy dando yo a ese gerundio. ¿Es el sujeto o es el complemento de la oración? Y dentro del mismo gerundio, ¿es solo el verbo o es el verbo y otro complemento más? ¿Sí? Más o menos.
Ok, teacher, ok.
Ready?
Yo creo que eso uno lo va como haciendo suyo, o sea, por decirlo así, como ya haciéndolo por inercia es cuando ya uno lo utiliza y a la final ya, digamos que gramaticalmente, pues digamos que uno no se pone a pensar tanto y a la final es lo que uno vaya hablando y al final
Yes.
yo creo que tanta práctica le sale en vez de
Exacto.
cuadrar las cosas, ¿no?
Sí, exactly. O sea, esto es como una base teórica, pero al momento de la práctica, todo esto, no todo esto, pero mucho de esto va a desaparecer de tu cabeza y lo que quede es lo que tú vas a cuadrar como el
Sí.
uso, ¿sí? Y eso es lo que se va quedando de a pocos. Luego uno va repasando y dice como, ay, ¿verdad que yo tenía que meter este verbo acá? Pero es posible que tengas que repasarlo mucho, mucho, mucho para que se vuelva a quedar como esa modificación al uso del lenguaje. Entonces sí, es más o menos lo que dices, como que al momento de usarlo es cuando uno más afianza sus conocimientos, cabrón. Right.
Ok, teacher, thanks.
No problem, no problem. Guys, recuerden que si tienen preguntas o dudas sobre las 3 primeras semanas o sobre cualquier tema, no duden en agendar tutorías. Me escriben por WhatsApp para que miremos cuándo tienen tiempo, aparte pues de las clases, en la mañana, en la tarde, o bueno, para que podamos cuadrar cuándo podemos, si necesitan tutorías conmigo, para que puedan cuadrar la fecha, me escriben por WhatsApp. ¿Listo? ¿Ready?
Esto.
Right, teacher.
Thank you, teacher.
Guys, muchísimas gracias por
Teacher,
estar ahí.
thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you, teacher.
Chao, que me
Bye,
les vaya
Good
muy
teacher.
night.
bien. Good night. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.